Hi, everybody. It is almost Marathon Monday, and it's one of my favorite days of the year. I am not a runner, nor will I ever be a runner, but I was just planning out our social media, and I was like, oh my God, the marathon's tomorrow. I've done nothing for it. So I thought, in honor of all of those who are running, definitely not myself. However, my husband is running, so shout out to him. It's amazing that he's doing it. I thought we'd do a little marathon painting, okay? So if you're watching with me, amazing. If you're painting with me, I'm going to go a little quicker than normal because I'm not going to lie. I have a baby sleeping here right now. So now this seems really weird. We put her in the bathroom because when it's so dark and you put the fan on and she takes the best naps. So I have a sleeping baby, so I'm going to go a little faster than I normally would. But watch this on replay, pause it, go at your own speed. And hello, Sarah. Hi, hi, hi. So if you join, please say hi, just like Sarah did, so I know that you're here. And I will think of something. I might have a little surprise to get out midway. All right. So we're going to paint this marathon painting. It's kind of a silly, like very abstract interpretation of the marathon finish line. Hi, Rose. This is what we're doing today. Okay. So here are the paints that I'm using, and I put them on a little piece of mixed media paper because we are in the studio and we're moving out of the studio and things are everywhere. So I just was like going fast. All right. So we got white, black, chrome yellow, burnt sienna, green, blue, and red. And I always use Blick acrylic paints, and so everything is Blick brand. Phthalo blue, phthalo green, burnt sienna, chrome yellow, Mars black, titanium white, and bright red. Those are my go-to colors. All right, this painting actually used raw sienna, so this is a little bit different than what we have on our palette, but I'm going to show you guys how to mix the colors and make it as similar as possible. All right, now I'm going to also pull up Facebook on my page so I can see you guys. But since I am using StreamYard, you got to make sure that you accept StreamYard in order for me to see who you are. So I saw someone said, hello, hi back, but I don't know who you are. So comment and let me know. Okay. All right. And if you're running the marathon, please let us know too, so we can give you an extra big shout out. So I'm going to start off. We're just going to outline a few things. I'm painting on a smaller canvas today. This is a 12 by 16 canvas versus my 16 by 20. So everything I'm doing now, the proportions, I'll try to make it so you can adjust depending on the painting you're doing. So I'm going to start off with my baby brush and give this one a little dunk in the water. So dunk it in, tap it off, wipe it off. And then I'm going to start off by going to the center. Let's actually outline everything in your yellow. Okay. So I'm going to use yellow. I'm going to use a little bit of the brown as well. I'm going to do this so you guys can see at home, but I recommend that anyone who's painting this does it with just the yellow. So that way, you can cover it up and no mistakes and all, if you make a mistake, no big deal. All right. So we're going to go to the very center of the canvas. And then from there, I'm going to have you go over about an inch on both sides. Okay. Making this a little bit smaller than what my original is, or this one. So I'm going to go to the center of the canvas. And then from there, I'm going to go about an inch on both sides. And I know people are like, what's an inch? If you use your pinky, bend it from knuckle to knuckle is approximately an inch. So we're going to go approximately 1 inch on both sides of where my finger is. And that's going to be the starting point up here. Okay. It's a little bit narrower than my 16 by 20. 16 by 20, I probably went over about 1.5 inches or so. And then I'm going to go from there. I'm going to come down to the bottom left and bottom right. I'm going to go up about 1/3 of the way. So I want you guys to imagine that this is like a big brownie and you're just splicing it into thirds. Okay. So we're going to come up about 1/3 on both sides. We're going to make a little mark and another little mark like this. All right. Now we're going to connect the lines. So we're going to make a line that goes from here to here and here to here. Don't overthink this. We're going to paint into it later, so it'll fix everything up. But right now we're just making those lines like this. All right. And then I'm going to come on this side. This is a really good little present if you know anyone who's running the marathon or has run the marathon. So just like an interpretation of Boylston Street. All right. And then I'm going to let's just like plot out a bunch of stuff and then we'll fill in all the lines. I also got the worst baby brush we could have in the studio. Go figure. Oh, there's a smaller one. Cool. Okay. So now we're going to go to the top here and I'm going to go over just a little bit, like about 1/2 inch or so from that end. All right. This is supposed to be like the sidewalks here. And we're going to come down to, or like the barriers. I don't know. I made this up so long ago. Hey, Dave, you love the marathon. Me too. I love it. It's my favorite day of the year. It's the best. And my husband's running it tomorrow. So extra special. We get to cheer him on and I don't have to run. That's the best part about it. So we're going to go from this line and I'm going to make a line that goes, whoa, speeding car. It's going to go down to this corner. Now, if you're like, oh, I can't make lines, if you use a bigger brush or even a ruler, I mean, I don't keep rulers around, but if you use a bigger brush, it helps as kind of a guideline for yourself. So I'm going to go from here. I'm going to go quickly. Remember, we can always fix things up by painting inside the lines later. So we're going to go from here I'm just going to go right. I'm going to move my eyes down to where I want my brush to go. So let's go down to the bottom. All right, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going from here, going down to that corner. All right, and I missed. So I'm going to redo the line. All right, now notice how my lines are not perfect right now. When we fill things in, that's when you can take the time to perfect everything. Okay, now we're going to fill in this space. So I'm going to take this baby brush, put it in my water, take out my big brush and give that a little dunk into the water, tap it off. And we're going to make a very light, we're going to make what's called raw sienna, but we're going to make it rather than use it from the bottom because I don't have it in the kits that we make anymore. So if you have raw sienna, amazing, use it. Otherwise, you're going to take your big brush, do a little bit of your brown, mix into some of your chrome yellow. Okay, so a little bit of brown into the chrome yellow, and then a scoop, like a big scoop of your white. And then I'm going to just take that and I'm going to go right onto the canvas. Okay, so right over here, I did a little bit of brown. This is supposed to be like, the ground, even though the pavement is really gray, but this is just our own interpretation. Hi, Adrian. Oh, Streamer needs to be updated. That's annoying. Okay, but great to see you. And hi, Elizabeth. Thanks to all my little visitors on here. So fun. All right, so I'm using a little bit of my burnt sienna, chrome yellow, and some white. And we're doing big brush strokes to fill in this whole space. So as I mentioned before, I'm just going a little faster because I have a baby napping right now. Let's see if we can get this done while she's napping. And watch at your own pace. Afterwards, pause it. And make sure you show it to me if you paint it. And you paint it for somebody. I want to know if they liked it. All right. Let's get some more. It's not pre-mixed enough. So now I'm just like scooping up colors. So I'm scooping up some of the brown, some of the chrome yellow, and your white. All right. I'm just mixing it on the canvas. I do a little pre-mixing on my paper. Oops. Okay. Went too fast. Got a little green on there. Got to wash the green off. We do not want green on our painting. You know what? Let me just text her. I don't think I actually can. I have too many things going on. Let's see. Some brown and yellow and a scoop of your white. Okay. So what happens when you spontaneously decide to go live, then everyone wants to talk to you right when that happens. That's always how it works. All right, I like to do the painting. I like to mix the colors on the painting because then you can see some streaks. I don't like to be super flat. I really like to see the colors. If you want that more flat look, then just pre-mix beforehand. Another reason for not pre-mixing is if you run out of paint, you don't want to have to try to like color match exactly. So thanks, Karen. I appreciate that. She says, what a cool painting. I appreciate that. We've had this painting for years. Like, you're watching and you painted this, definitely let me know. This is one of our oldest. We've been painting this since, like, I want to say we opened and we needed a marathon painting. So it kind of can be made for any marathon. It doesn't necessarily have to be the Boston Marathon. But, we got Boston going on tomorrow. And I'm psyched because we missed last year. And Boston Marathon's the best. Okay, there we go. All right, so there is our ground. Oh, it's way later. When I look at it in the camera, I can see. Whatever, that's okay. I like the streaks. All right, so that is it for this area. Now I'm going to paint the black section. Actually, let's do the gray first. I'm going to do the gray first. So I'm just going to take this brush, put it in the water. If you don't have our like orange brush set at home, fine. I'm going to use my medium brush just to change up the brush right now, but it doesn't need to be this brush at all. You can continue using your big brush, or even like a square brush for this size canvas would work. So take this, and then I'll dunk in the water, tap it off. Just see if I open up these messages, if I can tell my mom I'm teaching. Let's see. Can I do that? Nope, not so easily. Let's see if I can do it easily. If not, then I'll ignore this. There we go. Doing a Facebook Live. Okay, so now I'm going to take this brush and give it a little dunk into my black. Teaching a marathon painting. Thanks, guys. All right, so now I'm going to go black and white. So we're going to make gray. So this part stands out. We're going to do a little bit of black with some white. All right, and then I'm going to come on this side here and do big brush strokes. Let's get a little bit more. we're doing what we call cross hatching. A little bit of black. Big scoop of white. So did you guys just see how much paint I used? I used so much paint, and that makes things way easier to spread. So cross hatching is fun. Another reason for cross hatching again is that you don't have to have like a perfect brush stroke. So if it's not your jam, go ahead and make it nice and smooth. And also, if you want to, you can paint your side edges. I'm not going to now just for the sake of time, but I do like painting it while it's wet, or like while I'm painting the whole painting. That way you can color match. So like if you come back later and you try to paint your side edges, that's always complicated because it's hard to get the same exact color. And I'm going to right here. So again, I'm going to re-outline this space right here. Okay, big scoops of my white. Up and down, side to side. All right, this side has a ton of paint on it, so I'm going to pull some of that paint off. Do you see how much paint I used? So that's something I do. Like sometimes I'll just I know I say use big scoops, and then I use too much, and I'm going to spread it out over here. But I'm always a fan of using more versus less. You know, if you use less, it's so hard to spread, and then you hear that scraping noise, and you can see the background through the paint. A little more white in there just so it has a little bit more of like contrast and color. That's on this side. So I'm not adding a lot of paint. I'm just adding a little bit of color. All right. So I'm just adding like this much on my brush versus like a big scoop. Great. So I'm going to go back to my mom. Honestly, no idea. Okay, now I'm going to take this brush, put it in the water. I'm going to take out my square brush. This one's flat on the sides and it's flat on top. Give this one a little dunk in your water. Tap it off, wipe it off, and then dip it into your black. And I'm going to take the tip of the brush, the thin part, and I'm going to make a line where I'm kind of remaking my original ones, okay? So I'm going to put it down. I'm going to have it towards me a little bit more so that I can see. Okay, sometimes I'll paint sideways. Now, don't worry if it's not perfectly straight. It's painting. It's just not going to be perfectly straight. Everything I make is very painterly. So if you want to be perfectly straight, this is the best part about things being virtual. You're at home, go grab your ruler. All right, but otherwise, I don't use a ruler. You can see if you look up close, it's kind of wobbly there. It's all good. I'm going to do the same thing on this side, and then I'll just be coloring. Oops, I got one a little wider than I anticipated. That's okay. And over here. And I'll do it again. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to fill these in. Nice painting in time. Thanks, Ellen. Yes, timely is, well, I was saying I was like planning our social media, and obviously I know that tomorrow's a marathon, but I was like, I have to paint something for it. All right, so we're gonna paint it right here, fill this in. And this is one of our longest standing paintings. I think we made this, I don't know, maybe 2010 when we opened. It's just a simple way of recognizing the marathon. Is anyone watching going tomorrow? No, not everybody has tomorrow off, but if you are, tell me in the comments, tell me where you'll be watching. Also, so I can tell my husband you'll be cheering for him, obviously. Okay, no, I just stop talking when I get inside these lines because I did it before and I messed up. Let's take the brush, flip it sideways. Okay, good enough. Does not need to be perfect. But if you are somewhere where it doesn't do perfect, don't be afraid to like take your brush and flip it on the side to make sure you have good edges. And if it goes down, like not exactly to the corner, I had to fix mine a little bit. That's okay. All right, so I'm going to get a little bit more black on this side. Black is one of my favorite colors to work with here. I feel it's just so thick. You don't see the background through it. which is amazing. And it dries so quickly. I don't know why it dries so much faster than others, but it does. Let me get a little bit more of the black. Great. All right, so I'm just going to get as much on there, and then I can always go over areas and touch them up if needed. Okay. All right, so what I'm doing right now, see there's like little white specks. So I'm getting right into those little white specks using the tip of the brush here, pulling down and like really making nice straight lines. Okay, but I'm done now because I started messing it up. So to take this big brush, put it in the water, I'm going to take out my baby brush. Now this, the one I have here isn't good, but I just found this little brush. Let's see if this is any better than what I have. This is from our smaller brush pack that we have now. Yeah, these are some better baby brushes. We're all about the good baby brush here. You guys know. Who here knows? Give me a little heart or something if you know how hard it is when you have a shitty baby brush. I'm just going to say it. When you have a crappy baby brush, the whole painting is ruined, right? Okay, so now we're going to go into our marathon section, like where they run through. So let's do a little bit of outlining, and after we do that, we'll fill some things in. Okay, it's still really wet. So, gotta let it dry. So I'm gonna take out my baby brush, give it a little dunk in the water, tap it off, wipe it off, dip it into, so this is a baby brush. This is a really little baby brush. What size is this? This is a number 1. I think the one that's in our pack, our bigger pack, is a number 2. The number's been rubbed off. I'm pretty sure number 2, this is number 1. So I'm gonna give this a dunk into your blue. If you're a little nervous about this, you can always do white. That way it's much easier to blend in, and then you can always, if you make a mistake. So we're trying to stay positive, but I want to be realistic too, that people do make mistakes. So I'm going to go, let's say this is the halfway point. Let's go to the very center. Okay, I like this way of doing it. This is the very center of your canvas, and it's about equal distance top and bottom from the top of your little, what do we want to call this? Finish line arch. All right, so we're going to go up like 1, 2, 3. So on mine here, I'm going to go up about 2 inches on each end. Okay, so if I go to the center of my canvas here, I'm going to go up about 2 inches. I'm going to make a little mark. And I'm going to go down about 2 inches. I'm going to make another mark. Okay, so that is the whole thing. Now let's make these all the sections. So let's make the top line actually. So the top line is going to go straight across, and it's going to go to each corner of the black. So something, can you all see? Something like this. Like that. Okay, cuts it right off. And then I'm going to have you guys go down. So actually, let's do a little line in the middle here. We're going to make this one about 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to do the other 3 as well. So we're going to start by making this line that comes down. I'm going to do this nice and slowly to make sure I have a nice shape. So I know sometimes I say to do lines quickly, but in this case, I'm not. In this case, I'm doing them very gesturally. Teaching. Okay, and then we're going to go over again. Like that. Okay, now I just realized I made this one lower than this one. So what I'm going to do, I always like to acknowledge the mistakes I make to teach you guys how to fix them also. This is a big thing we do in our membership. So in our membership, if I make a mistake or I have a thought process on like the order of how I do things, I want to make sure that you know, because the whole idea is to teach you how to paint also, right? So I got to teach you how to fish, teach a fisherman to fish, something like that. So coming down a little bit more. So I'm going to extend it down just a little bit. So it's more in line with these. Let's make my line here. Okay, now extend it down to there. Cool. All right, now we're gonna make 2 little like hoops, little rainbows. So I'm gonna make my first one. These are gonna go up. They're like, you know, a little bit, they're not quite the midway point, they're a little bit higher. So I'm gonna go in between this space here, come up like this, in between the space here. Okay, so now it looks like a little face, but those are the top of the arches. So I'm going to go from there, and I'm going to come down I don't just make one big rainbow. I come down on each side. Like that. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And on this side. All right, I'm going to make this a little tiny bit wider just to match that one. Okay, ta-da! All right, so now I'm going to take this brush, put it in the water. You can use either the square brush or the round brush to fill this in. I'm going to start with the square brush because those the legs are about the width of the square. So let me show you guys this. It had black on it before, so I'm just wiping off the black. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to use my black. The background might be a little bit wet, which is perfect because I would say use a little bit. I'm sorry, not black. You're using a little bit of the blue. I would say throw in a little bit of white because I always like to add a tiny, tiny, tiny bit in. But because the background's wet, it'll do the trick. So scoop up your blue here. And let's just kind of, as I put it on there initially, and then I'm just going to go around the edges and I'm going to fill it in. There's nothing like a new, so I'm combining a new set of brushes and old ones. I'm going to go up these sides first. Right, and then going around the curve. So don't worry about the brush stroke right now. I always like to get the whole thing painted, and then while it's still wet, if you find that the brush strokes are going in crazy directions, like kind of like this, then what I'll do is I'll just kind of clean it up, right? I'll move it all in the direction I want. To get rid of little brush strokes, sometimes you just have to have a really light brush stroke to cover up the space. All right, and then coming around here. And down there. Okay, now my arches are not looking perfect. So I'm going to go back in my baby brush to perfect them. So even my non-type A self still likes to have things touched up and looking good. So I'm going to put this over here because I keep shaking the camera. So, oops, my brush is still really wet. So with a baby brush, always make sure you really wipe it off well. Okay, and then I'm going to just kind of clean it up. Okay, I'm cleaning up the arch. And this arch. And let's do it again. All right, now this one became shorter, so I'm going to fix up the other one. All right, anyone on here like struggle when things aren't perfect and symmetrical and you just keep going back and forth and back and forth? All right. This was always my favorite in class when you would see people's like focus face. Like I could just feel my face. My tongue was sticking out a little bit, I think. Everyone had a funny focus face, like their hands would get all clawed looking. And okay, that's good enough. I'm not going to worry about it too much. Good enough for me. Okay, good enough. Definitely not perfectly symmetrical, but I don't want to make myself crazy. And we got a ticking time bomb with the baby in there, right? Got to finish before she wakes up. So done with that part. So next thing I'm going to do while that dries, actually while we have our blue out, let's get some blue on there. Let's make our flag. So do I want to do the flag right now? Okay, let's think about thought process. I like to tell you guys thought process. So right now I'm thinking, I haven't painted this in so long. I'm thinking, do I do the flags first or do I do this finish line first? So part of me wants to do the flags because I have the blue on my brush, but I think the first thing I should do is actually plot out the lines versus like get right into the flag. So ignore that one. And then I thought, well, is there any reason to do this first? Like, do I want to do this first so it can dry so we can write finish on it and then come back later? So I think I'm going to do that. Let's get this part on first so we can let it dry before we write the word finish on it. Okay. So take your baby brush, clean it off in the water. We're going to dip it into your white. You can do white or yellow. We're going to just outline. All right. So again, I did like a darker color than what's here, which I'm not using today. I might change it up and do like a deep yellow today instead of a raw sienna. So we shall see. Let's change it up a little. So taking my brush dipped into the white, and this is just a really fun squiggly line. Clearly it's not realistic. Clearly this is not what the finish line looks like. So you do what you think is best. Okay. The one thing I will say is that I have each dot on each side in the same spot. So what I do is I'm going to come up from the bottom. Let's see, on my 16 by 20, it's like about 2.5 to 3 inches from the bottom is where this one starts. On here, I'm going to come here. I want the tops. Let me just make this dot and then I'll tell you guys what the measurement is. Here and here. I feel like I'm piercing ears when I make the little dots. So, okay, so on my 16 by 20, I want to say this is like a little bit, this is the halfway point. This is like 1/4 of the way up. That's a good measurement. I always like that. That's easy one to figure out. So no matter what your proportion is, I would say this is similar here. Whatever proportion your canvas is, if you come up about 1/4 of the way, that's approximately where the top of your finish line is. So from here, I'm just going to go like down and up, like a little whoop. Okay, so I'm going to go. It's always scary just to go for it, but I'm just going to go for it. So I'm going to go like this. Ready? Zoop. Like that. A little like, you know, that. And then I'm going to come down about 1 inch to 1.5 inches on each side. And then I'm going to make a parallel line. So I'm going to come down and then up again. Maybe I'll paint this white. Is it white? I don't remember. I have no clue. I haven't been to the marathon now in a while. I don't know about you guys though, but I get so emotional. Like someone was on the radio talking about the marathon the other day and I started crying. I get so emotional about the marathon. I don't think it's because of the marathon bombing. I think it was actually just like the amount of work that people put in to train for this. And like, I could never run 26 miles. So for someone else to run, like just to run it is unbelievable. I think it's yellow and blue. Okay. Thank you, Facebook user. I don't know who you are. I think is it maybe Adrian? Let me look up marathon. Let's see. Remind me tomorrow. Okay, let's do a Boston. I think you're right with yellow and blue. Boston Marathon finish line. Let's see what they say. Well, it is on the ground. You're right. It is yellow. It's blue. Oh, way easier. Cool. It is on the ground. I forgot it's on the ground. Oops. I just love what, and I just remember like, okay, it is yellow. Oh, it's yellow. Okay. Great. So I'm going to make it all yellow. I'm going to make it chrome yellow. It's actually not raw sienna. This whole thing is a little bit made up. But I'm going to make it chrome yellow. So thank you for whoever maybe just actually look it up. So I'm going to use chrome yellow and some white. Let me get a little bit more on here. If it wasn't Adrian, say who you are. Because I know StreamYard can be annoying sometimes. All right, I'm going to use the square brush to fill this in because it's a nice flat line. And let's see, I'm going to clean off my brush, get it really nice and clean because it's covered in glue right now. And now I'm going to do, so whenever I paint with the yellow, hi Adrian, thank you. Whenever I do yellow, I always add white. If you don't add white, it's just going to be see-through. You like won't even be able to see it at all. So I'm going to do mostly my white actually and some yellow. Okay. And you can always do layers if you need to. So I'm just going to get my first layer on top. So I'm getting my first layer on top because then I can always add more yellow on. And I know it's going to blend in a lot, and that's okay. Interesting how I like chose to make this. Like I don't even remember my thinking behind making this painting so many years ago, because the ground is gray. So like, did I make it gray? I think I want a distinction between this part and this part, which makes sense. There we go. That's bright yellow. All right, I'm going to add a little bit more yellow on this side here. So it kind of covers up a little bit more. And I'm fine with having some areas be a little bit brighter, some a little darker. I poured out a ton of white on my plate. Now I have to come up with another painting for after this. I'll use it for the challenge since we're doing a challenge. Anyone on here doing the challenge with us? I have to post more of my stuff. I've kind of been falling behind with posting it. Okay, so there is that. So great. Now we're going to do our, let's use our baby brush. Now, if you're uncomfortable doing this in black, I encourage you to do this in white. Maybe I'll do it in white, actually, just to make it a little bit less scary. And also I poured myself a massive amount of white on my plate. So I'm going to use my white right now to make our post for our flag, okay? So I'm going to go right to the center of this canvas. I'm going to make a line. So on my original one, it's about 2 inches or so. On this one, I'm going to make it a little bit shorter. I'm going to hold my brush right by the metal so that I have a really good grasp of my brush. Use my pinky to kind of support my hand. And I'm going right in the middle. Ah! Okay, I just did. I put my pinky on this part. Let's rewind. Make sure that the area you put your pinky on is dry. That's clutch. So I'm going to put my pinky down here. I'll come back with the black later. I'm going to go right in the center, but I'm going to the left and right a little bit of the center. So let me just make these lines so you guys can see. Like that. Okay. So see there, like I made a little space in the center because one flag is going to the right, one's going to the left. If you want to, you can outline the flags. I don't know. It's up to you. Hi, Tina. Okay. So now we're going to go. I'm going to leave. Actually, let's outline them. Let's outline them because then you'll have an idea where each one is. I'm just going to do that. Okay. So I'm going to make another curvy line. So I'm going to go like this, coming down and up. And I'm going to leave a little space, and I'm going to make a parallel line down and up. All right. So I want to make my line so that way I know where, my flag, so that way I leave space for my other flag. You don't want to like not give yourself enough space. So now this one, other direction, always a challenge, going down, up and back up, coming down here, and then coming down and up like that, like 2 parallel lines. Notice they're not perfect. That's okay. Tina, I saw that Jess made you some very delicious looking cake. I'm not honestly a big chocolate fan, but it looked beautiful. And it's pretty amazing that you guys have each other to cook for each other. I love that. Okay, now we're going to do it again. So I'm going to make another line. So I'm going to the right of this flag right here. I'm going to go to the left of this flag right here. Okay, we're going to make 2 more flags. Does anyone know what these flags stand for? Fun fact, I have no idea, but someone, if you know it on here, let's hear your fun facts for us. Oh, this is amazing. My flag is going to go right over my mess up. I didn't even mean for that to happen. Love that. Okay, so I'm going to go up, might go up a little more than I normally would have. Up, down, up. And we're going to follow that line like this. And then on this side, up, down, up. And like that. And there are our flags. Yay. All right. Now I'm going to, let's fill them all in. Okay. So I'm going to start off with, I'm going to use a little bit of a bigger brush. In fact, I might even use my big brush for this. I'm sorry, my square brush. So I have yellow on there right now. So let's just use what I've got on there. I'm going to use yellow and white. So yellow and white, which means very little of my white, very little of my yellow, mostly my white. So I'm going to go right on top. Now, if this brush is too big, then I would recommend using your round brush. Yeah, I think this brush is too big. Let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to use mostly my white. You can see that you can see things through, so you got to use a lot of the white. Otherwise, you'll be able to see the background through. And you might need to do a few layers. I'm going to come up. Okay. Good enough, good enough, good enough. There we go. All right, now I'm going to do, since yellow goes into, let's make green, okay? Because we're going to go transfer into really what I should have done if I was being super organized, I would start with my blue and add a little bit of yellow, move into my green, and then I would go to the yellow. But instead I'm going to do yellow, add a little bit of blue, green. Okay, this actually is going to work. I think this might work even better, even better. So I'm going to go to the green next. I'm going to take this brush. I'm going to add a little bit of phthalo green. So I'm going to mix into some of my phthalo green with my yellow. Now the color, my green on here is called green oxide, which I don't use anymore. So if I wanted to make green oxide, what I would do is, so I'm making this kind of greenish color here. If I wanted to make green oxide, to make like a bright green, a little more muted, does anyone on here, any members who are watching, my members might know this. So if anyone knows how to like mute a color, let me know. I'm going to add I'm going to tell you. And then if members, you know, I'm proud of you. So I'm going to take a little bit of my red and mix it in to my green, because they're complementary colors on the color wheel, and that's how you mute the colors, okay? And I'm going to add a little bit of my white in there. And I'm going to take a little bit, I'll take some more yellow. All right, and then we get more of a green oxide color. All right, but I'm only doing that to show you guys. I don't actually care what the color looks like. I'm just making it green. And I'm going to fill it in. Let's fill in this little space. There we go. Now I'm going to wipe off my brush. Thank you, Tina. And I'm going to dip it into the blue, and it's okay that there's a little bit of white and green on the blue. Let it all mix in. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to do this one over here. I'm going to get a little bit more on there. Awesome. And then I'll clean off the brush for the last one. Where's my water? And we're going to do that in red. I'm like looking at all these people who are at the finish line. It's just unbelievable that people finish this. Finish the marathon. Like, who can run that long? Like, my husband, I think, is going without a phone tomorrow. What do you do? I don't know. Maybe if I was watching TV the whole time, nope, not even if I was watching TV the whole time. Never happening. Okay, now we're going to fill this one in. So this is just plain red. If you want to put a little bit of white, now I wouldn't do a lot, you'll get pink, but a tiny bit never hurts. All right, there we go. Okay, fun part now. Now we're using baby brush for the rest of the painting. So let's start off by doing the details, and then that way you guys can add dots as much as you'd like. So I'm going to take my baby brush, the littlest one, because we're doing writing. So I know people always love the writing. Okay, and what I'm going to do first is let's write. Now, what I have here versus on here is very different. So I might make, this one is black, but on here it's blue finish. So I'm going to do that, but I'm going to write Boston Marathon with my yellow and white. So mostly I'm going to do yellow, mostly I'm going to do white, tiny bit of the yellow, and I'm going to hold my brush right by the metal part, okay? And the important thing is to kind of figure out if I have my B here. I'll make my B first. And this is going to be real hard to squeeze. I'm not going to lie. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we'll figure it out. I like to do my first and last letters first. And then I fill things in. So I can see here there's ST in the middle and O on each side. So let's make an S and a T, okay? And then we'll put an O on each side. You always have to be looking at the letter, at the word, otherwise you're going to mess up the writing. Got a little mushy there. That's okay. All right, now marathon, that's a longer one. So let's see. I'm going to start a little bit lower. And I have a lot of paint on my brush. I'm going to spin my brush around so all the bristles come together. And come down. There. This one I'm just going for it and keeping the letters thin. Cool. Doing different techniques on this one. Mara. And hoping it's like semi-okay. So I'll kind of get it on there quickly, and then I'll always go back in and touch it up. All right, it's cute. Boston Mare. Mostly you just don't want to spell it wrong, which I always do. I get too focused on the placement of stuff. All right, so it's really white. So now I can go back on top of the yellow. And if there's any areas you don't like, you can always, wait for it to dry and then go back in with your blue and touch things up. All right, there we go. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write finish. I'm going to do that in blue. So I'm just going to wipe my brush off. It's okay if there's a little bit of the paint still on there. And I'm just going to write finish. You can get really fancy. So on here it says like 100, whatever the number is. I have no idea what it is, but I'm going to get really fancy now. You guys ready? I'm going to just change it up even. I'm going to write Boston Marathon. Oh, I should have written the year and then given this as a gift. Well, that would have been cool, but I didn't. So I always redo it. So Boston. And this is the best tiny, tiny baby brush. If you guys do not have these, also we have a bunch of them to sell actually. So if you're interested in one of our little tiny baby brushes, I don't know if it makes sense for you to come by here or not. We're figuring out how to get rid of all the stuff in the studio. Or I think we're going to try to do a weekend where we just get rid of a bunch of it. You guys can come by and get stuff. All right, Boston Mare. Marathon. There we go. All right, and then I'm going to write finish up here above it. Make it really big first. I'm going to go back in and fix it up. My S got a little wonky there. All good. So I'm going to try to make it a little more like block letters. So whenever I do hand lettering, I like to get the word on there, and then I can go back in and make it look good, right? So it doesn't matter what it looks like. If you want to do script or anything, just like get it on there initially, and then you can go back in and touch up each of the letters. So now I mess up my S, but that's okay. All good. I can always go back in with the white and yellow and fix that up. Finish. Okay. There we go. All right. Now, here's where it gets fun. Let's make some people. So I'm going to do my people in black, like a little silhouette of the people. And I make them crossing. I make them jumping up. You can get as creative as you want. Also, while you have the black here, I'm going to make the post on the end. So I'm just going to make a little line on each side. Like that. I'm also going to go over my flags here with the black. Okay, now to make my little people, they're little blobs. So I'm going to make a little oval shape coming down to the flag. Then I'm going to make a little head. The heads are always a little dot. They're usually not connected to each other. And then I have little arms like, yay, I won. I'm so excited. Oops. And then down here is another one. Oval, little dot. This person's really excited they're about to win. Woohoo! I make this one like a little fold in their arm. And then let's make another one over here. I'm going to make a little body, a little head, and give her some legs like she's jumping up for joy. Yes. And I make a little ponytail, just in case you're wondering, what gender. It doesn't matter. But this one has a little ponytail. Okay. And then I'm going to make little arms. Like, yay. My ponytail kind of looks like a Santa hat. So that's cool. I'm going to make it have a little more. Okay. Now it just looks like hair. That's better. All right. So you can get creative with your little people. And then the last thing, this is what I always would recommend to people. Actually, let's do the plop and pull, and we'll save all the people to the last. So plop and pull, that's when I just take my brush and I'm going to clean up this part. So I'm going to paint over my extra yellow here that we don't need anymore. And on this side, now that side was wet, so it's kind of showing through, but. Okay, so now I'm going to do plop and pull. I'm going to do some black on the outer edges. And another one. Cool. All right, and then I'm going to come around the edges here, plop and pull. Okay, now let's add in some of the white. You can do colors, white, yellow, red, doesn't matter. All the fun colors. So I'm gonna go like this in here. And pop and pull. These are like the bedazzling part. This is when you get to be creative. If you don't like the color, just paint right over it. But the outline just kind of pulls it all together. Add a little bit here, a little bit on my outline. It's really wet down there at the bottom, so I'm not gonna do too much. Just a little bit, maybe a little bit on my post. Okay, now we can add the people. So the people are fun. What I used to like to tell people to do is if you take the back, I'm just making this, it's getting gray and messy, so I'm gonna leave it and come back later with the black or something, clean it up, or embrace the gray. You can take the back of a pencil eraser. If you use the back of a pencil eraser and make all your stamps, it makes it go a million times faster. I mean, this can just take forever. So we're not gonna do the whole thing today. I'll do a few. I'm gonna take let's take this a little bit bigger brush, and I'll just do a few to show you guys how to do it, and then you can do it on your own, okay? Because it can take a long time, and I don't think anyone here just wants to watch me make polka dots. Maybe you do. I don't know. All I have to say is we're gonna be opening up our membership in about a month, in November. And so if you guys enjoyed this painting and you want to do more painting with me, we have a lot of members who are on here today, and I'd love to have more of you on there painting with me. So you got to go to the paint bar. Actually, you can just put membership in the comments if you're interested, or you can go to our website. And if you go to our website, you'll see membership on the top tab. Click on that, take you to the wait list. But if you want more, if you want anything, just put in the comments, write membership, and I will write to you and tell you all about it. All right. In the meantime, while you guys are thinking about if you want to paint with me every day, all the time, then you can make some little polka dots. So you can do little dots. You can do it with the eraser, or you can do it with your paintbrush. I always like to start with one color. And then I go, I have a few, like they're all coming in here. And go. So I start with one color. I'm just going to like transition to the next color, and then you guys can go. Thanks, Laura. Are you going to be at work to cheer him on, or are you going to be at home? I know there are some people. So Laura is an amazing friend, painter, artist who works with my husband. And are you going to be in the office tomorrow cheering him on, Laura? Or are you going to be at home? And then there's a few people in Wellesley, which is great because at first I was like, I need to be in Wellesley or Natick or something. I don't know how we're going to watch him. Having kids is totally different. Like I used to be able to just bop around, and now it's not so easy to do that. But all good. Also, because I paint so much, no one in my family likes when I would give this to Drew, but I don't think he'll appreciate it. My mom doesn't like my paintings, or just getting them as gifts because they can all get them whenever they want. It's not fair. I want to give this as a gift. You're going to order? Oh, okay. Not at work. All right. Well, we'll miss you, and it'll be fun for him to see Ken and Monica. But what are you going? Are you going there for fun? Not fun? You actually don't need to tell us why you're going if you don't want to. All right. So there's the red. If you wanted to switch colors, then you could switch over to any color. I'm going to use brown because brown and red make a really nice color together. So give them out to trick-or-treaters. Oh my God, Mari, great idea. Hi, Mari. Trick-or-treaters. We have so many paintings at the paint bar. If I gave those out to trick-or-treaters, it's kind of a genius idea. Just come and pick a painting. Huh, good idea. Maybe that's what we do on October 31st, the last day we're in the studio. Here we go. Okay, so I'm doing brown next. And there we go. And I was thinking about how to like get rid, we have so much stuff here. So I'm trying to think how to get rid of everything. Okay, you guys get the gist of it. I'm going to go through color by color. You can see I overlap them. I can't decide if you want to watch me or not. I don't know. If you want to watch me, tell me. I can keep going, but I know this can get long and boring. But maybe it's like a little bit of mesmerizing or like hypnosis to just watch someone make polka dots. Here we go. Ugh, that was a weird dot. Okay, I think. All right, well, while you're on here, I'll tell you about our fall challenge. So if you're not painting with us, you should go check out. We have a little prompt list for you to get you out painting this month. We're also going to be putting out a fall ball. So in about 2 weeks, we're going to be doing a fun little painting. It's 2 paintings. It's 1 painting each night, and it's really inexpensive. We haven't finalized our pricing yet, so I'm not going to say it yet. All the details will be coming out in an email this week. So check it out. All right, here's some white ones. Right now we're going for some Christmas colors. So these are all the little jerseys people watching, running. And here, I'm not really overlapping them, but if you really want it to feel full, you can overlap them. And we were wondering today, like, do you think because it's not usually marathon weekend, do you think people will be off tomorrow? Like, will it be less people on the route or maybe more people because we didn't have it last year? So maybe there are more runners and more people cheering and the excitement is just like making a big comeback. I don't know. What do you guys think? We couldn't figure it out, but I will let you know tomorrow. Okay, and then, oh, we already did red. I'll make some yellow. I mean, orange. I'll do some yellow and red together. I don't think I did on that one. I guess I had deep yellow. Okay. I think I'm done now. You guys get the idea. All right, we did it. Baby's still sleeping. Amazing. I can continue on with my social media planning for the week, which is what started this whole spontaneous marathon painting today. So everybody, thank you. If you're running the marathon, good luck tomorrow. I can't wait to cheer you on. And otherwise, enjoy this painting. Give it to someone who is running. And I can't wait to see you all soon. Okay. Again, join our wait list. We are going to be opening our membership in about 1 month. Exactly. Not exactly, like a month and a week or something. But we haven't opened it we haven't done a real opening in over a year. So this is big news. Thanks, guys. Talk to y'all later. Bye.